Greetings and welcome to the Reparenting Daily podcast. In this podcast, we'll dive deep into reparenting, exploring all of the tools and resources that you'll need to help you along your journey. This podcast is divided into 3 sections. The first is a daily reading. The second is a discussion of the reading, followed by suggested journal prompts. And the last section is a peaceful meditation for closing. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from whenever and wherever you're joining us. I'm so glad you've joined us today on this journey of self-expansion and growth. If this is your first time here, welcome. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe this podcast wherever you're listening, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube. Your help here really makes a huge difference in allowing us to spread the word and build a more supportive community as we continue with our self-reparenting. Now, before we get started, I have some quick updates for you. First, I'd like to introduce our Patreon community. Here, for a small monthly fee, you can join us for 3 weekly meetings for additional support with your reparenting journey. On Sundays, we have a meditation group. On Tuesdays, we have a book club discussion. And on Thursdays, we have open topic conversations. You can find out more details about this if you go to the Reparenting Daily website and check out on the community tab. In addition to that, we also have a WhatsApp group to foster more daily connection and support for whenever you need it. And this is a community of fellow travelers from around the world who will always be there when help is needed. It's just one of the many ways that we're building our network of resources that are really going to help support your reparenting journey. For the next update, I'm very excited to announce that I've just released some first books. The first is probably the most important, and it's called the Reparenting Daily Journal. Now, this journal is a daily guide for 365 days of the year. We'll be starting in 2025, and basically each month corresponds to a theme in reparenting, and each week of each month corresponds to a sub-theme of the monthly theme. Now, from the beginning of the year, 2025, each daily episode will correspond with the themes in the daily workbooks. And so you can use this as a guide to work through your reparenting journey to stay focused, ensuring that you cover all of the most critical areas within a year's time. And again, this will be aligning up with the podcast, so you can use both of these to make a more engaging and interactive experience. This is ensuring that you really book progress on your reparenting journey. The next set of books I've written is called Fairy Tales for Reparenting. This is a collection of 3 books that contain short stories or fairy tales inspired from Jungian analysis, mythology, philosophy, and psychology that really is targeted to helping you connect to your inner child. And so these stories are very short. They're not very long. They're written in a very simple manner so that it's not too taxing on you, so you can more easily connect with the joy and fun of your inner child. More interestingly, however, is that at the end of each story, there's an analysis section that really analyzes the main themes and concepts within each story to provide encouragement and inspiration. Additionally, you will find corresponding journal prompts after each story and each analysis section to help you reflect deeper on how the themes of each fairy tale can be reflected and correspond to your own personal journey as you work towards self-expansion. You can find all of these books now available on Amazon, so go ahead and give us a look and give us some support. And as I've mentioned before, this entire process of reparenting and self-expansion is really about growth, iterative change, and continuous improvement. Much like the process of nurturing the bonsai tree, our reparenting journey requires our consistency and care. So many thanks for being here and for supporting this project, and also to committing on your journey of self-expansion. Now, without further ado, let's dive into today's practice. Today's reading is from the website Calm. It's an app also for mindfulness. This article is called How to Be Kind for Yourself. 10 Ways to Cultivate Self-Kindness. This is a reminder the month is February, and the theme is self-compassion and self-kindness. We're in week 2, and the theme is practicing self-kindness and self-forgiveness. Learn how to be kind to yourself and meet yourself with more compassion. Plus, 10 ways to be nicer to yourself, including how to offer yourself compliments. We tend to be our own harshest critics, focusing on our faults and overlooking our strengths. Feeling that we're never good enough is a common experience. Everyone has moments of self-doubt. The key to overcoming these feelings lies in recognizing that you deserve compassion, as well as learning how to be kinder to yourself. What is self-kindness? Often we think of self-kindness as something we direct towards others. Often we think of kindness as something we direct towards others, but it's just as important to direct it towards ourselves. Self-kindness involves understanding and forgiving our own flaws and mistakes, much like we treat a friend or family member we love. It requires an internal reflection and a personal commitment to self-compassion. When we practice self-kindness, we can improve our mental health and emotional well-being and live a happier, more fulfilled life. Recognizing worth. Understanding self-kindness begins with recognizing your own value and worth and learning to accept yourself wholeheartedly without harsh judgments. When you've made a mistake, you can choose to be forgiving and encouraging instead of being critical and hard on yourself. That doesn't mean ignoring what's gone wrong. It means acknowledging your actions without beating yourself up over it. It's important to accept that making mistakes is part of being human, and it doesn't lower your worth in any way. Acknowledging needs. Another aspect of self-kindness is being aware of your own needs and taking steps to meet them. Acknowledging your needs can mean setting aside time for relaxation, pursuing hobbies you enjoy, or simply allowing yourself some quiet time to reflect and recharge. Positive self-talk. Self-kindness also involves the way you talk to yourself. Your inner voice can be supportive or critical. By choosing to replace negative thoughts with more positive, encouraging, and understanding ones, you can create a more positive and nurturing inner world. For example, instead of telling yourself, "I can't do anything right," you might say, "I made a mistake, but I can learn from it." The relationship between self-kindness and mental health. The connection between how we treat ourselves and our mental health is more significant than many of us realize. When we're not kind to ourselves, it can lead to a host of mental health challenges. Reminding ourselves of the importance of self-kindness can be helpful whenever we begin to speak negatively about ourselves. That's the reading for today. Just as a reminder, you can find the entire article in the show notes. I've only read a portion, so please do check out the entire article and read that at your own convenience. Thank you. Welcome back. Now, this reading is essential for both reparenting as well as self-kindness, because it highlights the role of self-compassion in emotional healing. Many people who need reparenting struggle with deep-seated self-criticism and feelings of unworthiness, often mirrored the way they were treated in childhood. Learning to replace harsh self-judgment with kindness is a core part of reparenting, essentially becoming the supportive, nurturing caregiver that was missing. By acknowledging mistakes without self-punishment and recognizing personal worth, we can break free from cycles of self-blame and develop a more loving and patient relationship with ourselves. This shift allows the inner child to feel safe, accepted, and encouraged rather than controlled by fear or perfectionism. Self-kindness is equally crucial for overall mental and emotional well-being. It fosters resilience and inner stability. When we practice positive self-talk, acknowledging our needs, and meeting ourselves with understanding rather than criticism, we create a foundation for self-trust. This reading emphasizes how self-compassion directly impacts stress, anxiety, and emotional security, reinforcing the idea that treating ourselves with care isn't indulgent but necessary. Recognizing and validating our own struggles helps us create a healthier internal world, making it easier to navigate life's challenges with greater emotional strength. Ultimately, self-kindness transforms not just our relationships with ourselves, but also how we show up in the world, allowing us to live with more confidence, peace, and fulfillment. As we go on to the journal prompts for today. Number 1. What is one way I have been overly critical of myself recently? How can I reframe that criticism with kindness and understanding? Number 2. How did the way I was treated as a child influence my current inner dialogue? What can I do to develop a more supportive and compassionate voice? And number 3. What does self-kindness look like for me today? How can I prioritize my emotional well-being in small but meaningful ways? That's it for today. As always, thanks for being here. Take care of yourself and do be well. Welcome back. Now, this is the third and final section of the daily podcast. This is your silent meditation. Please find a place where you can be comfortable and undisturbed, where you can relax and spend some time with yourself for this 10-minute silent meditation. You can choose to be sitting, standing, lying down, or in whatever position makes you comfortable today. Just take some time to listen to yourself. Next, be sure that you are taking some time to be with your breath to connect with your body. Don't be disturbed or overwhelmed by your thoughts. Simply allow them to pass. Just observe them. Do not engage with your thoughts. Only be mindful of them passing as if they are drifting down a river. Use this time to connect with yourself. Whatever time of day you are listening to this, Namaste.